evening talk show. Today's guest is Dr. Solberg, who's going to inform us all about water pollution and how it affects our world today. Our main problem with pollution in this day and age is pollutants coming from large industries, such as landfills, agricultural runoff, oil rigs, and large factories. What are the main pollutants that come from these industries or farms?
Well, the key pollutants are oil, chemical runoff, and soil manure, which are usually the most harmful to the environment. Oil has always been an issue with the people of the planet and can take us far with cars and planes and money for the country, but it can also cause great issues like the long-term issues caused by oil spills and carbon dioxide given off. Every year, 1.3 million gallons of oil is spilled into the U.S. waters, and that's just the U.S. waters. We're not even talking about every year.
Wow. So how does that affect the ecosystems?
This causes the death of many plants and animals that come into contact with the source. It's highly toxic, and it seeps, the fumes from these oils seeps through the skin. It latches onto birds' feathers and mammals' fur, preventing them from maintaining a normal body temperature, causing hypothermia. When ingested, it poisons them, all causing death. And this also affects you and me. When oil spills, it causes fish to die in masses, that causes businesses to fail and water to become extremely contaminated. And the oil is never fully removed from the oceans.
That's absolutely terrible. What about the chemical and soil runoff?
Well, the runoff can cause nitrogen buildup, and this causes dead zones, which are parts of the water that cannot support any life at all. The buildup and the toxic chemicals from the farmland businesses and plants taint the water for both humans and animals.
Now, most of what we discussed may be traced back to a point or non-point source of pollution. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, so point source pollution is the identified source of pollution, such as a drain or pipe. Industry waste is contaminated and discharged into rivers and the seas this way. Non-point source is pollutants of inputs that impact a wide area and are easily attributed to a single source, such as stormwater, which impacts water quality in waterways and bays.
So when this occurs, how can we tell how bad the pollutants are affecting us or ecosystems?
To see the effect, we measure the water quality. This can be in physical form, chemical, or biological. We can use sampling, which is using plants and animals from surface water. We can see the toxins in them, and we can use physical testing, which includes temperature and solids concentrations. Chemical testing is best for testing the water, which was exposed to chemical and soil runoff. We test amounts of the pH, mercury, oil, grease, TPH, pesticides, nutrients, oxygen, and different types of other chemicals. Biological involves indicators to monitor the health of plants and animals in the aquatic ecosystem.
Wow, okay. Now, do we have any laws to protect against any of this, or?
Yes, we do. We have a bunch of laws. Off the top of my head, we have the Clean Water Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Coastal Zone Management Act, the Rivers and Harbors Appropriation Act. And those are just the ones off the top of my head. And these only just started to become problems where they would create acts in the 60s, and then there on out they began to make more acts.
Well, thankfully someone took this to the government. Now my last question from me and the audience is, how can we all help to reduce water pollutants?
Well, Easy ways that you can do this at home is to try not to pour oils or greases down the sink. Don't dispose household chemicals down the sink. Avoid throwing things other than toilet paper down the toilet. And run the dishwasher and clothes only when you have a full load, so that helps not use a lot of water. And minimize the use of pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, which all are specifically to easy things that we can all do to help.
Wow, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you, and we'll see you next week.